What's up, guys? What's up, guys? This is Levon Stewart with Vonnie FX, and today we're here to talk about finding the trend and trend lines. Now, this is a really simple, basic concept. It's like a basic foundation to our technical analysis and how we want to identify the markets and find trends. Right now, so price can only move in three directions. And what are those three directions? It can either go up, it can either go down, or it could go sideways. Right? And we're going to use our trend lines to identify both up, down, and sideways. And you're going to see in this example right now. So first we're going to talk about the upward trend. And I'm going to use the green one just to indicate an uptrend. And it's really simple. So you can see price kind of move like this. This is a basic, simple uptrend. Now, price may not move in the exact waves such as this. It may move, kind of up, scroll down, up, scroll down, up, volatile. But this is just a basic concept of an uptrend. And so, with each uptrend you have a higher high. We call it the HHs, which basically means after each first high it makes, it comes back down, make another high, right? And it comes back up and makes the other high higher than this high, and so on and so forth. And with each high, you have a higher low, or HL, as they like to call it. And what is a higher low? It's the same thing, just like a higher high, but the bottom version of that, higher low. So just like how price comes down. Look at the downward move. So it comes down this point, and then you see it come back. As soon as it goes down again, that lower high was lower than the previous low as before. So it kind of went from here to another high low, and so on and so forth. Now the question is, how can I use this diagram with trend lines? And the easiest way to answer that is that with these higher highs and these higher lows, guess what? You connect them, and that way you have your trend. And let me show you right now. If I were to, let's say, take a tool, and a lot of these trading platforms, they have these trend line tools, and so on and so forth, or you can even draw it yourself on the drawing tool. And basically what you do, you connect all these higher highs and higher lows. Well, just for this example, we're connecting all the lower higher lows. And then what we have a continuous uptrend, right? And if you want to take another step further, we can even put a trend line and connect all the higher highs. Right? Simple as that. And what do you have here? You basically have a channel. You have a channel to where you can see where you need to, get into some buys. And I'll show you right now. You get into some buys right here. And if you really want to, you could choose to exit at these points, at its highest point. So in that way, when you're buying at the lowest point and you're selling at the highest, and thus then you're profiting, right? Really simple, guys. This kind of uses specifically trend lines, and with the next couple of videos we're going to talk about how our support and resistance can work together with our trend lines. But this is just a basics, a foundation of how we could identify an uptrend with not only the higher highs and the lower lows, but guess what, with its trend lines. And that's how you can make a trend. That's how you can identify a trend. That's how we can identify whether we're buying or selling, and that's how we can also identify when we need to get in and when we need to get out of a trade. So that's an uptrend, right? Next, we have the downtrend, and I'm going to do some red so you can see it better. And just like the uptrend, it's the same thing but inverted. So instead of having higher highs, you're going to have lower lows and lower highs, right? So let me show you in this example. So right here we have a lower low, we have a lower high, LH, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. And these are just the bottoms of it. So now the top portions are going to be the lower highs. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Right? And how do we know this is a downtrend? Because it's making lower highs and lower lows, and it's going all the way down, right? All right, Lee, what's another way you could identify the trend? Oh, really simple. Just like how we did with the uptrend with the green marker, we're going to do the same thing with the downtrend with this one. So we're going to connect all our lower highs together. Right? And what does it make? A downward trend, a downward coming down. And the same thing with the lower lows, connect them all together. Does the same exact thing. So, oh Lee, how can I make money in downward trend, right? So really simple. If you're trading, or even trading options or forex, or if you're a shorter in the market, you capitalize in these downward trends, which is ideally perfect when you see these is when you want to start shorting stocks or trade. So basically, what you're looking for in these opportunities is the higher highs, so you can start shorting it because you're going to predict it's going down. So you want price to go down, right? So basically, what you're going to do is you're going to wait for the lower low to occur. Let's say you're starting right here. You're going to wait for lower low to occur. Wait for that higher high. Get into a sell. Or you can just get into these lower high positions and keep getting into lower high. Why? Because you're shorting your trade, and you could close out right here. Close it right there. Close it right there. Right there. Or right there. Because this motion right here, these zones, or this area of it coming down, this is all profit for all your short sellers, right? Now you don't want to be buying when market's coming down, and you don't want to be selling when market's coming up, for obvious reasons, which we'll talk about more about risk management, right? So, and at the same thing too with the same diagram we did before. This is a channel coming down, so you know what you're gonna get and get out. Right? So really simple, really easy concept to understand. This is a downward trend with the downward trend lines, and I'll show you even what to get in, get out with that same example and demonstration. Alright, so for my last video now, I said, for what we just talked about, we have three trends we need to identify. The up, down was the last one, the sideways one. So if you remember our last video, we talked about supply and demand. And this has to heavily do with supply and demand, but yeah, it's a trend. It's a trend can move either ways. It can move sideways. That's how things are, being more popular. Things are declining, and things being stagnant. So we can also identify what I call stagnant trend, right? So this is an example. We could honestly say, it doesn't give us a clear direction. Why? Because we don't have any higher highs, higher lows. What we do want to say is that within this trend, I can identify basic what we did the last video. A supply zone. Excuse me. A demand zone. Excuse me. Demand zone. So. And with that same correlation, we also have the opposite, what we talked about before, a supply zone. And if you watched the last video, this is essentially what where you could easily identify where the buyers and sellers are in the market, and how you could easily profit from these markets as well. So I'm gonna jump right into the video, guys, and show you these three exact same trends. See you in the video. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. All right, now we're back on the charts. Now remember what we just talked about, guys. We talked about the three types of trends: the uptrend, downtrend, and the consolidation, or you could call it the sideways trend. So now I want to show it to you live in action in the markets and how it would look, just kind of based off what I show you, because it kind of follows the same principles. So right now I have my we're looking at silver on the daily. I have in replay mode, so I can show you guys some actual trends going on in the market. Now they all might not look the same, they might all not play out the same, they all might not look identical, but nonetheless, if you're able to identify these trends when they appear, you could able to make a lot of money in the markets. All right, so let's start it off. So we're right here with price, obviously coming down from a downtrend, but let's just focus on now into the future, and let's see if we can find some trends to appear. All right. So again, we kind of have our, support, like I always talk about, where price kind of starts. We got a huge impulse up, came back down. Right, so I'm gonna call this right here my higher high, because it kind of look like it's gonna outtrend. Now it kind of look like it's a reversing. This actually looks like a, right down here, which I'll talk about in later videos, a reversal pattern, double bottom. But let's continue. See what it does. It looks like it's making its lower low right now. Yeah, so that's gonna be our lower low. Alright, let's see if I can find it. Oh, sorry, excuse me, not lower low, higher low. Excuse me, because it is an uptrend. It looks like it's making a new high. Oh, see, as you can see, it made a new high. Because it passed this previous high. Well, let me wait till it fully forms before I indicate it to you guys. Alright, so that's our high. So it looks like it's about to create the higher low. Consolidate. It could look better. So you can see it better, guys. Clone. So let's clone the higher high. So save some time. Put it right there. Look, it's formed the higher low right now, as you can see. Alright, so that's gonna be a higher low. Right there. Ooh, so we're gonna higher high. So you see guys, it continues to break the previous higher highs, past them, and then coming back down to create the lower high, just like as before, just like I'll show you guys in the diagram. This one will be a serious higher high, but let's see. Like I said, they don't always play the same, but nonetheless, it follows the same principles. So they play out. It's gonna correct itself. All right, so this little segment right here, the same thing. Like I told you guys, it's not going to come out perfect, but hey, this is a higher high. And this is a higher low. Let me get it look better. So yes, so you guys can see a trend. Now I'm going to wait a bit till you got a direction change to make the trend, but I'm going to keep playing it so you guys can see how price reacts and how price creates these moves. So now we got a higher high, a higher low. It's like this before. Highest it came. The lowest it came after the high. Okay, so I'm gonna stop right here, cause I have a feeling it's gonna start selling off, which I'll explain in other videos as to why I feel like it is. But I want us to focus on what we talked about in the just a second ago in the diagram when I drew it out to you in the dry erase board. How price creates, wave, kind of like a wave, you know what I mean? Up, down, up, down, up, down, creating these higher highs, these higher lows, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of interesting just to see um, the multiple opportunities you guys could take to capitalize on these positions. So if I do my trend line, I'll probably draw like around, right around, kind of like right here. I'll try to let them touch on as many candles as I can. Again, they don't have to be perfect. Try to connect all the high lows because you are buying it, and then I like to do this, copy it so it's kind of like the same kind of channel, and I like to try to connect all the. Excuse me, I think I deleted it. Yeah, I like to connect all the higher highs together too, so I can have a so I kind of have a know of exit where to go. But if you guys are able to, let's say, capitalize on these positions, buy right here, buy the higher lows, and then hold it or ride it or exit out in these higher highs, a lot of money is to be made in these markets. A lot of money is to be made in these markets. All right, so let's continue. So let's see if we can find a downtrend. All right, so I'm just gonna say from the jump, I'll move this out the way so it's not in anyone's way. I'll move this. Just delete those. All right, so if we consider this right here as our starting point, we came down, right? What would this be? Our lower low. All right. So I'll show you. Just give me a second. This would be our lower low because it came down and it came back up to make our lower high because it stopped coming higher. So now it's making lower highs. So let me show you how that would look like. Give me a second. And as you can see, as you came back down, we're kind of making that lower low too. So let's continue, see how low it goes, or if it starts coming back up. Okay, so it made its higher high and its lower high and higher lower low, and I'll show you right now. So when it came back up a little, this was another high and it sold off, but we're gonna go off this first sell off, and it made another lower low right here, and this is about to be another lower low, but let's let it play out. Alright, so I'm just gonna stop right here again, because I do feel like price is making a change. But let me see. Let's continue, see what happens. Alright, yeah, it did make a change, but let's see, rewind it. Let's just focus on this section right here. So just like the downward trend, just like the upward trend, we're gonna connect all the lower lows together, right, to identify a trend, and then we're gonna kind of clone it to make our little channel, and then boom, connect it down there. So again, if you're, like I said in demonstration, if you're a short seller in these markets, these are ideal conditions for you to trade in, because it's all selling motion, and the ideal positions you want to be are right at these lower highs. You want to be shorting at these lower highs where you could sell at the highest price it's possible, so you can ride it all the way down and collect all of those profits, or you can just hold it so it goes all the way down, right? And it's just like the upward trend, but just inversely. Flip it over. Think about it, completely opposite. You're not buying anymore. You're selling now. Now you're looking for the highest point where price is gonna come up.
You don't want to be buying in these markets, because if you buy it right here and then you wait, days, weeks, months later, and you realize prices at this point, hey man, price has been going in that downward trend for a while now. If you identify these lower lows and these lower highs, right? Simple. All right, so now really quickly, so I get you guys out of here and stop boring you, I want to show you guys, kind of basically we talked in the first video with the supply and demand part one. What happens when price moves sideways? So, just like I said before, if price ever moves sideways or it looks like it's moving sideways, you're gonna do your what? Your supply and demand, right? And it's really easy to just identify your supply and demand, because if prices are moving in these zones, what are you doing? You're buying at the bottoms or shorting at the tops, or you're buying at the bottom, selling those trades at the top, or shorting right here and exiting those trades at the bottom. Simple as that. So let's see what price does, because I feel like it's in the consolidation. See, it's moving sideways. Can't really do much about it, you know what I mean? It's the top, comes back down. It's the bottom, comes back up. And then breaks the trend. And then breaks that zone, right? Simple enough. But as you can see in the zone right here, what was price doing? Moving kind of sideways. Before it did that huge sell-off, which we'll talk about what we can do when price breaks off in these zones in supply and demand part 2. But anyway, guys, this is Leaving on Store with Vine FX. Please leave a comment, leave a like, smash that like button. Let's get to 50 likes this video. Let's get to 1,000 subs by the end of this month, and I'll see you guys at the top, man. We're coming with more content soon. Take care.